What's good, y'all? It's Ray back at it again with a new video. And today I will be reviewing Don Toliver's Octane. So, before I do that, I just want to give like a little background of, you know, how I was introduced to Don Toliver. Um, you know, if I'm being completely transparent, I am not the biggest fan of Don Toliver. Um, but as a real music lover, journalist, I really wanted to see what was going on because if I'm being honest, his last album, I actually really enjoyed a couple records off of that project, but I didn't always just play it on repeat. I will say that I've seen a lot of the like the reactions to, I think Hearthstone Cycle was the album. Like Bandit, for example, like seeing people's reactions to those type of songs that were very successful. I'm forgetting the name, the one with Charlie Wilson and Cash Cobain, but like that was another one that was a record that was going like really crazy. So I was aware that Don Toliver was having his little moment. I didn't know that he had the type of pull that he had up until now. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about how this album is, arguably his best project. So, you know, um, to even like, shout out to Don Toliver because I remember the first time I heard him was on the Travis Scott album, Astro World. We didn't know who he was, but we knew he was special. And now here he is today, arguably one of the best artists on Cactus Jack right now. So yeah, shout out to Don Toliver. Um, so you know, this is I don't have a lot of subscribers, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the good, the bad, my favorite songs, and then my conclusion. So the good, I really enjoyed that this album feels fresh, while also maintaining a lot of elements from like chopped and screwed music. That's very like Houston like, I guess that's the right way to say it. Don Toliver paying homage to his hometown. I'm also like a big fan of chopped and screwed music. Shout out DJ Screw. Um, you know, my dad used to put. My dad was like putting me on to that type of music, like low key. So I'm just, I that really stuck with me as someone who likes that music. E85, I think that's what it's called. E85 is the perfect example of that. It's a crazy experimental beat, but it really contains a lot of chopped and screwed elements, and that's why I really like that record a lot. Um, great intro, by the way. Um, I like how this album shares a lot of themes about love, and especially he kind of harps on like the ups and downs of relationships, and also he yearns more. I know that's a lot of people's main gripe about music today. There's not a lot of artists that really make music that shows that they yearn for people. And Don Toliver, I think, is stepping into that lane, which I don't think is a bad thing for music at all. I think that's really good, and I commend him for that. Because we live in a crazy time. Like toxic masculinity is real, so I can see why it's not. Um, I could see why an artist wouldn't want to do that. Um, so props to him for really like stepping up to the plate and really, um, you know, just trying to be different. From the beginning to the end of the album, it felt very thematic. I know for that rollout, they said he recorded in like an observatory or something like that. So that was really cool. I could kind of feel that vibe throughout the whole album, and I really appreciated that. Um, and I enjoyed that Don put like that type of effort into it because it shows that he cares about having a quality listening experience. So like that to me just shows that Don Toliver has like a certain level of care for what he does, and I commend him for that. Um, okay. My dog just barked, so I don't know if y'all gonna hear her, but she's kind of up and down. But I could definitely feel the influence of being inside that observatory or like geodome type thing. Like it definitely I felt that. So now the bad. I feel like this album had too many songs. I've kind of been saying that a couple times with I think the ASAP Rocky album I said that too. Um, I think it could have been like more concise, and I think that really would have benefited this album. I think some of these songs are kind of redundant, even though it fits the themes of the album. And to add on to redundancy, I think he stuck to like a similar formula, um, which is like, in my opinion, a little bit safe for him. For example, like Body, I knew when I heard Body, I was like, okay, that's obviously supposed to be like a record that's supposed to reach the masses. Not surprised that it's doing the thing that it's doing right now, but that's just not my type of music. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I think like a lot of people, they say that Don Toliver doesn't experiment as he should, and I kind of agree to a certain extent because of his vocal range. Um, I like this album because it was experimental, but I want more depth. Because even when Don Toliver came out, like I feel like there was a certain level of depth that's been missing. Um, and even though yes, this album does talk about relationships and stuff like that, um, I think as someone who wants to be more engaged with Don Toliver, as someone who's not the biggest fan, I guess I don't really know um, like what makes Don Toliver Don. I just hear like the flexing part and like the love part of it. So yeah. Um, Favorite songs. Um, so the first song, going with K9 featuring Star Baby. This is one of my favorites from the album because they both sound amazing together. One big takeaway that I have is that I love Sa's wordplay on this song. That was really tough. And I also enjoy the themes of exploring up and downs of relationships. It really makes that song relatable. I'm not gonna lie. Like a lot of the lyrics, I feel like that Don sings on this song is very personable, and yeah, like I just like that they made this vibe, and I'm excited to see what they could do in the future. I think they're going on tour together, so that should be fire. Um, Second song that I have, ironically, Secondhand featuring Rema. Now earlier I did say that I didn't like those formulaic Don Toliver songs. I feel like this is a little bit in that realm because it reminds me of, oh, that's the song Attitude. It reminds me a little, like the drums sound very similar to me. Um, Not the drum patterns though. It's a little bit different. But I still like this song a lot. Ironically, when Don sings the song's hook, it just reminds me of like the old Don for some odd reason. But I really like that. Um, you know, it lets me know that okay, like it's similar to a lot of my favorite artists now. Like it lets me know like okay, there's another level that you can get to, in my opinion. And that's how I've always felt with Don Toliver. This is a song that lets me know like, and this is already a good song too, but I feel like he could go to another level, especially after listening to the song and liking the song. Um, I think Don and Rema are both sliding on this. I like Rema's flow. I think he found like a perfect pocket on his verse, and it was like like this song really feels like kind of like hypnotic, but in a good way. Like it's just a vibe. Like it's really a calm, smooth vibe, and I think that also like it reflects him doing that whole album in that little like observatory space. Um, and then also I like the blend of like slizzy and Afrobeat production on this track. Like it was that's what I was talking about, where it was similar to Attitude, but it was a little bit different. So yeah, I like that a lot. That was fire. Um, and the last song, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, E85. I think it was a great way to open up this album. I love that it feels like a transition from like Hearthstone Cycle into this like new era. Because it does feature like electric guitars and stuff like that, but it then transforms into this like chopped and screwed, but new sounding type beat. So I really enjoyed that a lot. You know, uh, the production was really soft, but like very aggressive, and it's kind of like the trend that's going on in music lately, and I really enjoy that. Because it like John Toliver kind of did it in his own way, and it was hard to achieve. So I like that a lot. Um, and I think on this one he had a 10 out of 10 melodic performance. Um, so you just gotta really appreciate that and give him props. So those were like some of my favorite songs. Um, in conclusion, I think I'm gonna give this album a 7 out of 10. I was gonna give it originally a 6, but I think like there's a lot of songs on this album that I really enjoy. And even like I didn't know Don Tolliver again. He had the pull that he had, but it's also being like it's undeniable that people are listening to this project and do have like some they hold some form of value to it. Like there's a reason why it's streaming so well right now. But yeah, like I enjoy like a solid like 4 to 5 songs on this like in a rotation type vibe. Obviously, like I'm gonna listen to a little bit more of this, like in my spare time whenever. But yeah, I think my only reason why I gave it a 7 is because it just felt like a little bloated for me, and it would have sounded better without those like hit chasing records, in my opinion. Um, I do enjoy how Don tried to capture like this outer space sound, and he also just brought back just romantic and yearning type music just in mainstream media. I think that's kind of important, um, especially because like not everything can be based around toxic behavior. So shout out to Don Tolliver. I think this album was very successful, and I'm excited to see how this translates to his career, not only now but just for the future. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for sticking with this channel. Please like, subscribe, share, hype. Let me know what you think about this album. What are some of your favorite songs? Yeah, man. Shout out Don Toliver, man. We coming fire, or we're coming soon with more videos. Yeah, trust. I got some heat coming for sure.